President, I would ask that the quorum call be officiated.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I rise today as one of a number of our colleagues to talk about something that really bothers me. We're seeing historic obstructionism in the United States Senate today. It's been going on for the last 2 years. One of the fundamental responsibilities of the United States Senate is to provide advice and consent on presidential nominations. When President Trump took office, he acted with urgency to fill positions in his administration with highly qualified and highly skilled, experienced individuals from the real world, not just people from the bubble, but people from America. Unfortunately, Democrats have slow-walked this confirmation process every step of the way. In my view, this is historic obstructionism, and it needs to stop. This is the first time in U.S. history that the minority party has not waived the 30-hour debate rule to this degree. As a result of the 1,200 nominees to be confirmed by any new president, only 714 have been confirmed to date. At the end of this year, we have 386 nominations in line waiting to be confirmed because of this historic Democrat obstructionism. At the end of Obama's 2 years, only 5 nominees were outstanding compared to the 386 for President Trump at the end of last year. Let me say that again. At the end of President Obama's first 2 years, only 5 nominees had not been confirmed. That means that everybody that he had sent to the Senate, only 5 at that point had not been confirmed. However, at the end of December this past year, President Trump still had 386 nominees in the pipeline right here in the United States Senate waiting for us to get to them. For the last 3 presidents, we've only had 24 collectively 24 cloture votes required by the minority party, only 24. However, during President Trump's first 2 years, Democrats have forced 128 cloture votes on nominees here on the Senate floor. Each one of these cloture votes requires 30 hours of debate. We can't do anything else on the floor while we're doing it. That means that the normal business of the Senate cannot be transacted because we're waiting during the 30-hour debate rule to get to the vote. Basically, the Senate is only able to do, under those realities, only 1 confirmation per week. And you can do the math. 386 weeks is a long time. What's going on here has nothing to do with the nominees' qualifications either, Mr. President. Every single one of Donald Trump's nominees who received a recorded vote was passed. Not one has not passed this body, not one. The vast majority of these nominees are non-controversial, getting more than 70 or 80 votes, in some cases more than that. And, Mr. President, this chart shows that of the cloture votes that we've had to take here, 48% got more than 60 votes, and 37% got more than 70. That says that 75% of the votes, Mr. President, got more than 60 votes. These are not controversial nominees. That's not the issue here. My own cousin, who is now Secretary of Agriculture, waited 4 months. I know this personally because he bunked in my place for 4 months, Mr. President, while we were waiting to get his confirmation. But when he finally got the vote on the floor of the Senate, he got 87 votes, Mr. President. It's clear that Democrats will stop at nothing to obstruct the President's agenda and prevent the Senate from working on real issues. Every hour we have to spend in the 30-hour waiting period, we can't take up the country's business. These are the priorities the people back home want us to be working on. If this obstruction continues, President Trump will not have his full team in place until the end of his second term. These delays are petty, and the American people have had enough, in my opinion, Mr. President. I hear about it every time I go home. For the last 2 years, several of my colleagues and I have pushed to keep the Senate in session during the traditional August state work break in order to confirm nominees and make progress on funding the federal government. In August of 2017, the leader of the majority party, Senator McConnell, agreed to keep us here for the month of August in order to work on several things that we're working on, including confirming these nominees. The minority party agreed after 4 days to basically confirm 77 nominees on that one day. Now, what makes that important, Mr. President, is prior to that time and all of that year, prior to that August week, we had only been able to get 44 nominees confirmed. By staying here last August in 2018, we confirmed 43 nominees during that month and completed 75% of government funding bills. Today, as I speak, there are 249 nominees before the United States Senate waiting to be confirmed. And basically that says that's 249 weeks if we follow the traditional rule that we've been following over the last 2 years. These nominees include people like the Assistant Secretary of Readiness for the Department of Defense, who's been waiting to be confirmed for 8 months, Mr. President. This is in the Department of Defense, Assistant Secretary for Readiness, one of the crisis areas that we have in our military, Mr. President. 8 months this nominee's been waiting to be confirmed. The Undersecretary of Food Safety at the Department of Agriculture, one I hear a lot about, who's been waiting 9 months in line to be confirmed. But people on the other side say, oh, well, the President's just not sending nominees up here fast enough. Well, what happens to these guys who've been sitting here for 9 months waiting to be confirmed? Another, the Assistant Secretary of Economic Development at the Department of Commerce, who's been waiting to be confirmed 8 months. Mr. President, these aren't low-level nominees. These are assistant secretaries that are waiting to be confirmed. This has got to stop. This President's not even able to form his own cabinet in complete terms by these assistant secretaries not being able to be in place. We should be working around the clock to get these people confirmed. If this obstructionism continues, we should try to change the existing rules for confirming nominees by reducing the 30-hour debate rule at minimum. There's a plan in the Senate right now that would reduce the 30 hours of debate to 8 for most and 2 for some. Reducing the debate time required will speed up the confirmation process and allow us to focus on other business in the Senate that people want us to address. Every single Democrat in the Senate today, who was also here in 2013, supported reducing debate time on nominees, and they should do so again right now. Mr. President, I'll close by saying that despite this historic obstructionism, the Senate has indeed, over the last 2 years, because we focused on this as a priority, even with this 30-hour debate rule being enacted, we've confirmed 63 district court judges, 31 Circuit Court of Appeals justices, and 2 Supreme Court judges. These judges will have an impact on the judiciary for years to come. And by the way, these are not activists with political agendas or motives. They're accomplished, experienced jurists who are dedicated to upholding the Constitution and adhering to the rule of law. It is criminal, Mr. President, that we waited that long to get these people confirmed. I applaud the President for nominating such outstanding individuals to these positions. If this historic obstructionism continues in the United States Senate, Mr. President, I believe President Trump will not have his full team in place until the end of his second term, if then. This obstruction needs to end. The resistant movement threatens the security of our country and our ability to deal with the problems facing America today. It's time to rise above this partisan gridlock, change the rules, confirm these nominees, and finally begin to get results from the American people. Mr. President, I yield the floor, Thank you.